Good afternoon, Cookville Elementary School. I am here in the garden, and today I wanted to do a lesson with you guys about two kinds of critters you might find in your garden. One of them are called insects, and the other one is called an isopod. Let me show you what I mean. Let's start with insects. What do we know about insects? We know insects have three main body parts. They have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. There's a couple more things we know about insects. They have antennae on the top of their heads. They use that to sense the world around them. They have compound eyes. That's like eyes with lots of little eyes in one. And they always are going to have 6 legs. Now, sometimes our insects also have wings that they use to move around the world or move around the garden as well. So that's insects. Now, how are they different from isopods? I'm going to show you that next. Okay, have you ever seen a roly-poly in the garden? A roly-poly is an isopod. They're different than insects because they have 7 body segments instead of just 3 body segments that insects have. They also have 14 legs where an insect only has 6. And this is pretty cool, they have gills just like crabs do. So insects and isopods can both be found in the garden, but they're both a little bit different. Alright, so a couple more things about isopods. They are similar to insects as they both have exoskeletons, which means their skeleton is on the outside of their body. Just like insects, they also lay eggs, and we know that they live in the garden, and a lot of them share the same habitats as our insects. So isopods and insects have a lot in common as well. Something fun about isopods is they shed half their exoskeleton at a time. So you might see an isopod like a roly-poly where its exoskeleton looks like it's a different shade or a different color compared to the rest of its exoskeleton as well. So that's just some fun facts. Isopods are also scavengers. They eat a lot of the dead things in our garden. So it's really good to see isopods in the garden. They keep our garden clean, they keep it healthy. They help us make compost as well, so we are very happy when we see them. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go into the garden. I'm going to do a little insect scavenger hunt. I'm going to look for an insect, and then I'm going to look for an isopod, and I'm going to show them both to you. Alright, stay with me. Okay, I'm going to have to speak up a little bit. The jets just started flying, but I'll try my best so you can hear me. I have an insect that I found in the garden. This is a honeybee. Now, this honeybee, she's probably a little bit confused. I'm going to let her out shortly. But you can see she has 6 legs. She's got 3 body parts. Let's get a little closer here. She's got a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. You can see all the pollen on her. I'll let her go soon. And she's got some compound eyes as well. So she's a little bit different than the isopod. They both have exoskeletons, and we both find them in the garden. She was pollinating one of our calendula flowers when I found her. I wouldn't recommend trying to capture one of these at home by yourself. She's going to be pretty upset with me, but I'm going to let her out back in the garden. And she'll be back to pollinating and getting nectar and getting pollen. Okay, here's the isopod that I found in the garden. I'm trying to get as close as I can without losing focus on it. It's in one of these little bug containers that we use in the garden. There we go. You can see it's got many more legs than an insect does. It has 14 legs. It's got 7 body segments. This is called a woodlouse. It's actually a common woodlouse. I found it under one of the stumps in the garden. Might also see it roll up when it's trying to protect itself. This is pretty common in the garden. I just think it's pretty cool. I'll leave it here for you guys to see a little bit. You can see it's using its antenna to try and figure out what's going on. It's probably a little bit confused when I have it in this jar right now. And when I'm done, I'm going to be putting it back where I found it, because it does live in the garden. Its habitat is in the garden. It eats a lot of the decaying and dead matter underneath those logs. I think this is such a cool animal. Let's take a little bit longer to look at it. Let's see if I can zoom closer. That's as close as I can get, but I think you guys will enjoy that. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, I'm gonna let this guy go. Hey guys, I'm back. I had to move inside because of the jets, and I don't think you would have been able to hear me over them. But I just wanted to say that you could see the difference between insects and isopods. With our woodlouse, you could see that the isopod had 7 body parts, 14 legs. Also had an exoskeleton, just like our insect did. Our insect had 3 body parts. It had a thorax and an abdomen. It had 6 legs and compound eyes. Also had an exoskeleton and lays eggs just like an isopod. So there are a lot of insects and isopods living in our garden. You can find them underneath logs, you can find them in the soil, you can find them in all the different flowers that you can see in our garden. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had fun. If you do choose to go out into the garden or outside in your yard and look for insects and isopods, just be careful, because some of them, like that honeybee that I find, might not be too happy if you try and capture them. So just make sure you're being safe and have fun. I'll see you guys later. Bye.